What's good, everyone? We're back in with the All Facts podcast here. I'm your host, Haris Fakar, alongside with two special guests here. Care to introduce yourselves, both of you?
My name is Mohammed Kazi, and I'm a good friend of Haris.
Sabi, you've been on the show before.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
while back. Yeah, my name is Sabi. I'm a student, friend of Haris.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll ask you guys a question. I'm
Alright.
pretty sure we all know the answer to this. What is better, hard work or talent?
Hard work.
Hard work for
We
sure.
all agree hard work, but why would you say it's hard work?
Hard work because talent can be wasted, but hard work is earned, and something that's earned isn't lost easily.
That's interesting because when I think about it, right? I think talent is something you can start off with. So let's say, yeah, you're talented at something. And since if you're talented at it, you're probably going to be passionate at it too, right? So talent will get you the edge to start grinding, but hard work will get you to the top where you want to be. That's
Yeah,
how
it's
I
like
think of it.
diminishing returns. Like maybe talent will get you off really well in the beginning, but sooner or later, the dude with hard work is going to catch up to you, and you're going to match or go ahead of one another, and it's going to start to like peter out, and the benefit you get from having original talent is gone.
No, because one quote from I saw this movie the other day, right? Or not the other day, it was like a very long time ago. Kevin Durant said, "Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard." And
Yeah,
that
Exactly it.
tend to think about that a lot. But let's think about it. Kevin Durant was always known as like he was one of the worst players like growing up, right? He wasn't always the best talent. He wasn't always the talented guy. But as soon as he got older, he worked harder, and then now he's Kevin Durant. But
Mm.
let's say Kevin Durant was not 7 foot. Would he be Kevin Durant?
Maybe he wouldn't be Kevin Durant in basketball, but he would be Kevin Durant in whatever he pursued. So whether it's like something academic or maybe it's soccer that he pursued, he would be Kevin Durant in that.
That may be, but then I wouldn't think of it that way just because it depends on how much hard work you're given. I think without one or the other, it's just you can't really get to the goal you want to achieve. Of course, like if you're really talented, there's only so much you can do. But if you always work hard and you have no talent, there's only so much you can do.
What is that talent actually? What is talent?
Like something you're naturally gifted with.
But can you say anybody is naturally gifted with anything?
In what?
Like anything, like sports or math. You can't say he's talented in those
There
things.
are people that are naturally gifted in lots of things. That's a major thing.
But what defines a natural gift? Like you're good at it when you're 5 years old?
Yeah, like what as soon as you're born or as soon as you try it out, you're good at it. You're not just good at it. You seem to be known as.
Isn't that just like limited by how good your teacher is? If the person who's teaching you how to play basketball, if he's good at teaching basketball and this is your first time playing basketball as like a small kid, you're gonna pick it up quick because the teacher is good. And then people are gonna call you talented. Is that really just talent or is it just the teacher?
I think it comes to or continue.
Imagine someone that's really tall, and then imagine someone that's very short. And if they both start playing basketball, who has the upper hand?
Whoever has a better teacher.
What if they have the
But they
same
both have
teacher?
skill level. Yeah, that's the same teacher.
If they have the same teacher, then the person with higher height would
Exactly.
Or
That's
actually,
talent.
the person who is able to take the teachings of the teacher and apply it the best would be the person who is better.
Yeah, that's how I was gonna say it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, that's the point, though. I feel like talent is something you're just naturally gifted with because when you're learning it, you're just naturally gifted with it. You think, okay, this is something to pursue,
So
and
talent
then
is
you're gonna
the
want to think
ability
about
to
it.
apply what you're taught. Then.
Yeah, I would say because if you're not, it comes naturally, right? Because for a lot of players, even like a lot of players in the NBA, it's funny how we always bring up basketball in this, but like a lot of sports players, they end up learning to play their sport a lot later than what than like an average the average person in the league, right? Like
Yeah.
like if you'll hear like, oh, like soccer players, basketball players, you'll hear like all these sports athletes, or even like successful people, let's say like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, like they were all great when they were young. They all had the drive when they were younger, right?
Mhm.
But for some
But the thing
people,
is,
it takes them time to just take in information.
mhm,
So
yeah.
the question doesn't even become, are you talented? The question is becomes how far in life will you be able to acquire talent, rather
But
than
is
just
that
like how hard you
or
work for it.
is that difference between the people who are able to absorb information slowly and others who are able to absorb information quickly? Is that difference just because, there is something innate in them, or is that difference because of the way their parents raised them?
I would say innate, because I feel that's why I think of talent, something you're naturally gifted with. Like they'll
Mhm.
pick up on it faster. Like a lot of people call like gifted people gifted because they're able to take in information a lot quicker they're than normal people.
Mhm.
Like gifted people
But
are
does that
talented.
mean
Gifted people
that
are talented, but does that
mhm.
mean they'll succeed without hard work? No. But they won't succeed
but
without hard work. And we all agree hard work is what gets you to your goal.
but
But that's the
does
thing.
that mean that some people are just naturally dumber than other people?
Not
And
naturally
yes,
dumber.
some people may be more capable, mentally capable than others.
No, but I'm saying that just innately they're just dumber. No matter what they do, they're just dumber because
No,
of their cognitive function.
No, but then would you say a person that takes in information a lot slower and takes his time through things is dumber than the person that's naturally gifted? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
that's an opinion-based question. That wouldn't be like factual.
Yeah,
Well, you
that
could
is a
make it factual. Okay, let's pose a hypothetical. All right, you have a baby from two different families, completely different families. Right? Let's say one baby is Chinese, one baby is like Jamaican. Okay, and then you raise them in the same family in the same exact way. Which is there going to be a difference in the functions of this baby?
no, there wouldn't be.
Right. So then talent isn't innate, then, right?
But we don't know how talented those two kids are.
Well, I'm saying like you
And
raise them.
maybe not really. Actually, no. They won't be the same. Like one could be above the world, one could not be. It's very
So why would one be different then?
I think it's just the way they see things and how they act upon it. Because I saw this post on Instagram. It was like the two sons had like an alcoholic father. One son became an alcoholic, and then one son became a wealthy businessman. And they were both
I saw
asked
that.
exactly. They were both asked why were they like what got them to their success or what got them to in their state at the moment. They both said my dad was an alcoholic. So
Mhm.
I think this all just begs a philosophical question. Like, is talent something you just naturally get, or is talent something you just acquire because you're able to understand a lot quicker?
I mean,
Yeah,
then we'd have to
what
see
I'm
what.
saying is that does everybody have a different level of function when they're like, okay, when they're a baby, you have a baseline. Does everybody have the same baseline or
No,
is it different?
It's
they have a
different.
different baseline
Why is it different?
because not everyone has same genetic features biologically and
And
mentally.
everyone has different
Everyone's not
circumstances. Like
same.
everyone has different lives growing up. Like some
No,
people,
that's what I'm saying though. Is it like biologically what defines someone's abilities, or is it just how they're raised in the environment they live in?
They both play factors.
I think everything you said is a factor right there. Because if one person is in such a poor environment, he's probably not gonna pick up on information a lot quicker. He'd probably pick up information like he'd be a lot street smart. He'd know how to take care of things because he lived in a poor environment. But a richer person would be wouldn't really understand what the poor person has to deal with because he didn't really have to he probably didn't have to deal with like growing up in such poverty or growing up not even just poverty, just in a low income household. He didn't have the experience of like having a low education probably, or just because he would probably have everything handed to him
Yeah, it's
rather
like
than
that.
him taking action.
it's like that postal code thing, right? So you can predict someone's future based on what postal code they're born in, right? So if somebody
Yeah.
is born in like Compton, then they're not gonna be as successful as someone who was
Well,
born.
we can't judge on that because it just depends on how people take action. Because I think because some people might see Compton and like it's the same the two sons example. One person might see Compton and say, "Oh, I live in such a bad environment. I want to do better for this community," and they'll be able to do it.
Yeah,
But
but
then
what
some,
factors made them think that way? So that means they must have been exposed to different environments, right? Maybe like the mother was more attentive to the person who was more successful or something.
yeah, actually, maybe the way they grow up was just different. Maybe like one son, or let's say they had the two sons. One son was older, of course.
Mhm.
Older son will probably have experience with through different environments because he's the older son. He's been more experienced.
What do you want to say, Musad?
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
So I'm thinking that St. George, imagine if we think of this as an example, someone that grew up in Beverly Hills and then someone who grew up in Compton. And if both of them were given the task to become successful and, for example, be a successful real estate person, um, so who would you think would be more successful? Someone that grew up in Compton or someone who grew up in Beverly Hills?
I would say the Beverly Hills guy has an advantage.
Yes,
Yeah, the
and
Beverly Hills guys has
I
an
was
advantage.
reading this article because what happens is that the Beverly Hills person, when they grew up, they were they were exposed to a lot of money. They're exposed to a lot of risk taking, so they understood money and they're not afraid of losing money. And whereas someone in Compton who grew up and who has less opportunity, they've seen money as scarce. They don't want to, they're not as risk taking. So that's why that also shows where you grew up and that affects how successful you will be.
Exactly. So now back to like the conversation on talent. Do we now think is talent something that is innate or something that is based on external factors?
Well, based on the arguments we're having now, it is based on external factors, but hard work definitely does pay into it because it matters how much you
Mhm.
use that talent. Like think of two guys. I'm thinking of two guys, and since we bring up basketball a lot, I'll bring up two guys basketball. One is Ben Simmons, one is Jaylen Brown. These two guys were the top prospects of the 2016 NBA draft. Ben Simmons, once in a generation talent. Everything, all the hype was towards him. The next LeBron James. Jaylen Brown, very raw coming out of college. Very raw talent. Not like he has like efficiency issues, like But if we look at it now, Jaylen Brown is better than Ben Simmons now. And what is the reason? Because of hard work. Ben Simmons had zero work ethic just because of the external factors given to him. The fact that he had all this hype just got every just he was okay with all the attention. He was okay with with people treating him like how he was some like prince, because apparently that's what the reports say. I don't know what it is, but Jaylen Brown was the one that had to fight for his spot. He was the one that, and now he's like probably the second best player on his team. But even then, he was the one that had to fight for his spot. And yeah, that's really what I have to say. So like the external
Yeah,
factors
Yeah.
play this part.
that shows because how a lot of people when you ask them the question, is it talent or hard work? People usually divide it, saying that you're either talented or you're hardworking. But that's not what it often is. And the reality is that some people are talented and they're also hardworking, and they have the ability to achieve much more than someone who is talented or someone who is just hardworking.
Yeah,
And that's
that
just
was the
how
point I
life
was
is.
gonna come. That was the point I was
Yeah.
gonna come to. Like, if you're very talented and you're a hardworking person, then you can get to where you want. Like taking like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all those guys, right? Like the
Mhm.
exceptions in the world.
It's true. The that's
And
like the
it also,
that's like a difference between like an external motivator and an internal motivator. External motivator is something that we talked about, like talent. Talent is like an external motivator. You get skills from other people, and then the hard work, the motivation and self drive, that's internal motivation. We
Mhm.
have inner goal in mind, and you work towards it.
I agree. Yeah, that's what. But all what this is reminding me of, it's kind of like reminding me of like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because when we think about it, the rich are so they have
Have
more
opportunity.
opportunities. No, not even just
Yeah.
have more opportunities. They're exposed. Yeah, they're exposed to more opportunities, and they'll know how to take advantage and when to not take advantage. They'll know when to invest or when to not invest. They'll know what to do with each circumstance. Whether the poor person, they'll just know what they have for themselves, and then they'll only try to divide it within what they have,
Mhm.
rather
There's
than
not a
yeah.
lot of knowledge to be shared
And
around.
you know what that reminds me of, right? So like, let's say yeah, these two guys are like they're in the middle, like they're in the middle. The richer get richer. So the guy that's been exposed to many different opportunities, he'll get richer and richer and richer because he'll know how to get there. And then the guy will get poorer, poorer, poorer because he's only going to do for what he has for himself.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's with talent. Talent, they'll both be in the middle. But then
Mhm.
once hard work comes in, when the internal motivator is what you said, right? One will
Mhm.
become better, and if one doesn't do hard work, boom, he's gonna decline.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the Ben Simmons, Jalen Brown argument I came about.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
similar to that idea is imagine if you're given $100 bill compared to imagine if you worked for like a whole week. Imagine if you worked for like a few days and you did like hard, gruesome work and you got paid $100 for that. What, which $100 bill are you gonna hold more valuable to you, like in your hand? The one that you're just given to, or the one that you worked really hard for?
The one that I worked hard for, just because if I have a 100, it's probably going to be inflated and worth like $90.
Bro, what? That's not what I mean.
No, I'm being realistic here. I'm being realistic here.
No. Because the one you're given, you haven't earned it, so there's no sense of accomplishment over it. But when you
Exactly.
gone out and earned something, $100, you really recognize the true value.
I think it's just more of a psychological effect, because the fact that, let's say, yeah, you had $100 bill and then you earned for another $100 bill, right? The one that you earned for, you'll feel more special towards it just because you're like, yes, this is mine. I earned this, rather than the one you already have. You're like, okay, I have it. So what?
Yeah, and so that idea of when you're given that, when you work hard for that $100 bill, you'll see that you achieved it. So then it'll make you in your mind ability that you can achieve more, that you can make more money than that. If you were just given $100 that you didn't work for, it would just fall in your hands, and then you just sit there and wait for the next $100 bill to fall in your hands. So that's how you can compare talent with hard work, because someone who
Mhm.
works hard, when they reach success, they want to reach more success, and they can see that's possible. Someone who's talented just thinks that everything will come in your hands.
And
Yeah.
inflation in this example is laziness. Like, look, you'll have
What?
$100, and then because inflation is getting higher and higher each day, boom, that $100 worth $90, and that's laziness right there. But when you earn it, and you'll do more with it. Like, what is what you
But I
said.
guess you can associate that with the sunk cost fallacy because when you work to make that money, you put in resources, you've cost yourself like time and energy to get that value. So there's like a cost to reward ratio there. But once that you just received $100, there's a lower cost to reward ratio, 100% ratio. But if you worked, it's less than 100%. So technically, the the $100 bill that you didn't work for and you just received is still more valuable, like intrinsically, than the one that you have just the one that you worked for.
But psychologically, which one is more valuable to you?
Psychologically, which one is more valuable is the one you worked for.
Yeah, and hard work is all about your mind and your willpower. And hard work is it just begins in the mind.
It's
Well,
about
yeah,
drive.
the internal. So no, so the driving power is just the harder work based off the talent you already have. Because like, let's say, okay, there are many things we're not talented at, especially like for me, I'm not good at soccer, right? And you guys are. You guys are huge soccer fans, right? But like, let's say I put in so much hard work. How far will I go? I will
Pretty
probably
far.
not go anywhere.
Yeah, you go pretty far,
Oh,
man.
yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, will I get a contract for like Man United as a goalkeeper? No.
Yo, actually, if you work hard and like properly work hard, like a few hours of training every day, you that is possible. Maybe not like Europe, but maybe like Toronto FC or MLS. Maybe
I
like
feel like if you guys did it, because you guys are good at soccer, I feel like you guys would definitely have some spark
and
in
there
Europe.
are leagues for like older people. Like if
MLS.
yeah, not MLS, like even like older people, like retired players. There are leagues for those players. So you could join one of those leagues. Maybe you like there's an offset of the time that you've invested in soccer because most people play soccer younger. But now, let's say you start now, you have a disadvantage based on time. But there are other opportunities in leagues that you can chase. You can still
Actually,
become,
no. Actually, no. I kind of understand what you're talking about because Joel Embiid, a superstar, one of the star, right? He only started playing basketball when he was like 16, 17.
yeah, exactly. He just worked really hard and he got good at it.
No, but he wasn't in that
It's not even
situation.
working hard; it was working smart too. Because like he didn't just take a billion free throws, or else he would just be good at free throws. Yeah, so he worked
Mhm.
smart, right?
Yeah.
He
I feel like once he touched that basketball, some natural gift had to be there. The fact that he's
you know
also
that
7 foot tall definitely gave him an advantage of that.
Yeah,
yeah
the
yeah.
7 feet tall, that's probably a gift for him.
But there's a bunch of people who are 7 foot tall in Africa, man. He's from Africa too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but not a lot of them have the money to go to America
yeah,
and
exactly. He got
pay for
scouted, right?
education.
How did he get involved in basketball?
I don't know how he got involved. I just know he started playing at a young age and then he went to Kansas. The Jayhawks, played for the Jayhawks, and then he got drafted third overall.
Maybe he got in on like a scholarship.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely got in on a scholarship. But like that's one thing to consider.
Yeah. And there's also like that sense of privilege, right? When you're talking about talent before, that's essentially privilege. That, some people have more privilege than others. I have more privilege than another person somewhere else.
And that person might have more privilege than I think it really depends on the field.
But even
Because maybe, yeah, like maybe you're more privileged than someone else in one thing, but definitely another person can have privilege over you in another thing.
yeah, exactly. But like on the basis of things that are like more dunya based, more like
Worldly
tangible.
based, yeah.
Yeah, just like two factors play: social and economic. And if you're a white person, you got social down, and if you have a little bit of money, you got economic down. And then you have privilege over so many other people. You're like 99% of the entire world.
That is true. Okay, so hard work versus talent. We all know hard work was it was better than talent, but we all agreed to there's a certain degree of talent where you should strive for more hard work. Just
And we
because the
established
fact
the
that
definition of talent.
just because when you have talent, the more hard work you put in, you'll be more successful where you're gonna end where you want to be, basically.
Yeah, like success wise, the most successful person will be the one that has talent and is the hardest worker. That is like the cream of the crop.
That's
Yeah.
where privilege comes into play. If you're privileged and you're a hard worker, you'll come out on top no matter
And you
what.
have
But what about like happiness, relating into happiness? If someone who is talented, hardworking, or someone who is both, who is going to be happier, even just someone who is poor and
well, I think happiness will not really play in this role because we're talking about talent versus hard work, not success versus unsuccessful.
Mhm. But there's still like many unsuccessful people who are happier than people who are successful.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like success is very subjective because if someone is unsuccessful and they're happy, I kind of don't think that's possible.
You see them as successful, yeah, right?
Like, yeah, you might think they're unsuccessful, but if they're happy, I feel like they think they're successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
but like
necessary to think you're successful to be successful. Like you might have a goal in mind and you haven't achieved it at all, but you're still happy with your current situation, right?
yeah, but happiness isn't just factored on hard work and talent because like happiness is completely different, and we can't also
that's what I
compare
was
happiness
saying.
with success.
This is more like success and unsuccess rather than.
So like if you're working hard, you're attaining a sense of fulfillment, like you said, out of the $100, if you worked hard for the $100, you'd like the $100 that you worked for more because there's a sense of fulfillment you get out of that.
Okay, from a
Yeah.
philosophical and psychological, I don't know why I'm using these big words here. I don't typically do that. From whatever you earn and whatever you strive for, you'll tend to think and appreciate more of the hard work you've done than whatever the talent you already had. Let's just say that. Going back to many examples we've had.
But hard work, what defines hard work though? We define talent, but what defines hard work? Because hard work, people who like work at Walmart every day, they're hardworking. But what about like someone who like is wanting
someone that is trying to reach their goal, and that's someone who's hardworking.
Hard
who's
work.
trying to reach their goal, and then they reach their goal.
Also like what you said, like work smarter, not harder, or like not work smart, like not even just working harder, just working smarter. Like they'll know what their barriers are and they'll understand how to get themselves to the next level. I feel like our hard work is pretty self-explanatory, but
so hard work is contingent on having a vision.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah, just striving for your goals. Just basically what Musa said like so many times. Like if you have $100 bill, you earned for a $100 bill or you had a $100 bill, the one you earn for is technically like the hard work. Like that's your reward given for the hard work you've done. I feel like
that's a dilemma we see so much, and especially in like the US, like someone it's called like a slave wage. You're literally a slave to the wage because no matter how hard you work in that wage, you can't get out of it, you can't improve. And like this wage is just enough to keep you alive, but not enough to let you move forward.
Basically working smarter and striving towards your goals, basically. And the way how you do it is to earn something at the end. So
hard work is contingent on a vision.
Contingent on a vision.
It means for
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's more like when you really think about it. Like when you think of you'll think of success, right? Normally, people will go like, okay, I'll do this, and hopefully an opportunity comes. But really, like when you're thinking about hard work and how to strive for your goals, it's really best to work backwards. Look at where you want to be and then go backwards and see how can you get there. It's kind of like baby steps there. So like, okay, let's say you want to get into the NBA. Let's say you want to become a professional soccer player, right? Instead of just saying like, okay, let me join this rep team and then see what's happening from there. First, you're like, okay, I want to play for PSG. And you're saying, okay, how can I get to where, I want to go to PSG? Then you'll go, okay, I'll probably have to join their U19 squad, or then I'll probably have to go to this camp. Then I'll probably have to try out for the rep thing. And this is where I'm at right now. Like something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to do with hard work. Even a talented person can have those goals.
No, but we define hard work as contingent on a vision.
So that's what I mean.
Define a vision, and the vision can't just be like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. It has to be like, okay, what steps do I need to take to become an astronaut? And then you start working hard towards those steps.
And we've said this before, like a person could be talented for all that, yeah, but the hard work is what's driven to them. Because a talented person would probably go the normal way and say like, okay, I'm so talented, let me just try out for the rep and then I'll probably get opportunities because I'm so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we said it's about working smarter, or I don't know why I say working smarter, not harder. It's about working smarter to work harder. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Especially but the thing is, we're saying all these things, but when you try to apply it to reality, let's say again, like a Walmart worker in the US, that's someone whose income is reliant on working like 12-hour shifts at Walmart every day. That person, they can't really chase whatever goals they have in mind, right?
Technically, they could. Well, like it depends on what you're talking about. If a guy's just doing it for like a part-time job, then it's like, okay, I'm doing this for a part-time job.
No, this is like his only source of income. He's supporting his family. That's it. Working at Walmart.
And he's going to try to find opportunities to work somewhere else or find better opportunities.
Or he probably wants to own that Walmart. Who knows?
Yeah, but how many opportunities are out there for a person like him, someone who's working at Walmart?
Less opportunities, of course. But how does that have to do with hard work or talent? Like, he just has
because that person is still working really hard, and they, of course, they might have a vision in mind, whatever, but they're never going to achieve their goal.
Again, it comes back to the privileges.
Mm-hmm.
How many advantages you really have. Because let's say the guy was like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
If he's making 20 years old, if he's 20 years old and he's making a good amount of money, like let's say 5 figures, that's pretty good for a 20-year-old. But if it's like a 40-year-old, then you're thinking, okay, then it depends on his like psychological. It kind of depends on how he thinks of the world. It kind of thinks about how he thinks of his own philosophy. Just because a lot of people at 40, they kind of just give up, right? They're like, okay, I am where I am. But some people would probably say like, oh no, there's so much I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether like if he was 20, he'd be
life to live at 40.
exploring. If he was 20, he'd probably be exploring options. And since he's 20, he's making 5 figures, let's say. He kind of has an advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can like save up, but let's say like he's supporting a family, then what can he do? Right? There's like these barriers that get in the way.
Well, like I'm not talking about this episode isn't about career options for people that want to work hard.
No, we're talking about talent, hard work, and dreams, right? Visions and dreams, right? How does that apply?
No, we're just talking about talent compared to hard work. Now
that's such a narrow topic.
Let's change the
like
example.
A discussion. It goes in.
We're basing hard work and talent off of like monetary success. Let's look at something like
not even monetary success, just kind of like what it is, like how, like what you would consider talent and what would you consider hard work.
Imagine if you, for example, wanted to be really
like we're not.
Oh
yeah, continue.
Yeah, if you want to be really buff in the gym, now there's no way.
Musa, that's definitely
talent
Musa right there.
Exactly. There's no way where you can get talent to get really buff in the gym and become strong. You're gonna have to go to the gym every day and you're gonna have to work hard. That's the only way there is. So in that sense, the hard work is way over. It trumps over talent.
That is a really good example, because I remember speaking to someone and they were saying like, okay, like let's say someone's just naturally strong, so like they can curl a 70-pound dumbbell. They're just naturally strong. If they keep on doing the 70, their muscles are just going to be compatible. They're only going to be able to lift a 70. But let's say a guy from 1 week, he curls like a 30. Then the next week, it gets to like a 35. Then the week after, it gets to a 40. Then the week after, it gets to 45, and then etc. So after like a couple, let's say after a couple months, who's going to be stronger? The guy that was naturally strong, or the guy that was keep on going?
The guy who kept on going, but that's
exactly
like a relationship between a vision and hard work, right?
Exactly. This guy said, "Oh, I want to curl an 80," and then he gets to that step.
Mm-hmm. So, but what I was saying before is that despite like working hard and having a vision, there are people in reality where that's just not an option. Even like getting buff and going to the gym, there are barriers in the way that some people just can't overcome. So
I agree.
Where do you end up with that, right?
I mean, you just have to play with the cards you dealt with, right? I mean, you're not going to expect a person who has no legs to start running marathons, and you shouldn't be expecting that. So it doesn't mean that they're unsuccessful.
I'm talking more about social barriers rather than just like someone who's disabled.
I know, but any type of barrier is an actual barrier.
Wait, but what do you mean by social barriers?
Like, no, but still, like someone who has no legs. Guarantee you, there's some marathon for people with wheelchairs out.
Yeah, but he won't run in a running marathon. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but what do you mean by social barriers?
Yeah, what do you mean by social barriers? Because that's
by social barriers. You have all right. Social barriers. You work nights and you can't afford a gym membership. You can still work out. You can go running or something, but be realistic. If you're working nights, you're not gonna have energy to go run.
Is it physically impossible to, if your goal is to go to the gym, is it physically impossible to not to go to the gym?
It is not physically impossible, but it becomes less and less realistic.
I think a lot of this just goes to the fact that how you manage your time. Because if his goal is to go to the gym, I've said this to you guys multiple times. When you're passionate for something, you'll make time for it.
Mm.
I've said that multiple times, right?
Mm.
I know I don't apply it, but I've said this multiple times, right? I'm pretty sure if he wanted to go, his goal is to be strong and go to the gym. He will definitely make some time to go to the gym.
Mhm.
Or not, he would just definitely, he's get like, with the right motivation, he will
Mhm.
definitely go. Because
Okay.
sometimes people will have that goal and say, "Oh, I'm a failure." So, but it's kind of more psychological than it is like a mindset thing than a uh uh yeah than just actually going and taking
Okay.
action.
So how do you change that
Because
mindset?
how do I change that mindset? Well, there's many factors to that. Like maybe you have a supportive family, maybe you have supportive coworkers, like if the guy that worked at Walmart. You have supportive.
No, but that's where that
Yeah.
talent and hard work plays in because the hardworking person is the one with the
Hmm.
mindset that he's willing to change and he's willing to work harder.
Where does that mindset come from then?
I mean that is the
Well,
definition of
yeah,
talent versus hard work. The
yeah.
hard work
Well, you,
No,
you
but,
said it
but what
yourself.
I'm
The
talking, where does that
internally
mindset
factor.
come from?
what do you mean come from? From your brain?
Yeah, yeah, it's the
It comes from
internal
somewhere.
factor. It's the internal factor of hard work. And
From
then,
your
of
vision,
course, and
from
yeah,
your
from the
goal.
vision as well. Not even just the vision, just like
Yeah,
your
but where does
circumstances.
the vision, where does the actual mentality come from?
The
Like,
guy looks in the mirror and says, I need to lose a few pounds. And then he does like that. I don't know what you're asking.
where does that reality check come from? There's people who are fat their entire lives and they don't give a shit. So
Well,
how is that
yeah.
like?
I mean, that's just
Yeah, well,
each person to their own. That some guy wants to lose weight, want to be buff, so that's why he will do it for
That's
that.
not a satisfactory explanation.
Bro, every person is different. They have different goals. If someone's goal is to lose weight, then that's their hard work. That's where it's coming from.
Where do people's goals come from then?
From
just from
I
what
don't
they
know.
think success is.
Well, where does that come from? Like, what is the root of how they come up with their goals? What they want to do with their life?
It's kind of similar to just like, well, like what they were kind of taught and what they were kind of trained to be, I would say. Because like let's say they were
Okay.
growing up and said like, okay, this was success, and then they would take a lot, all especially like the factors in, right? If they came from like a whatever income have family household, and then factors such as like, okay, whatever they were taught, then
Mhm.
they'll come up with success of their own because success is very subjective, right? And then whether they have the talent or they'll put in the hard work, they just have to deal with what they think success is, or not. They just have to deal with. They'll just have to try to move. They'll just have to try to take the steps to where they think success is.
Okay, so their goals are and their dreams are based off of their childhood or how they were brought up.
I think it just kind of it's. I think it kind of just
Their
relates to
personal
nature
experience.
versus not even
Mhm.
just person. Yeah, just nature versus nurture. I think it also comes
There's a
that comes into
similarity, right?
factor.
We came up with the same thing for talent. So your goals are based off of your talents.
Yeah, you could say so.
Your goals are versus your talents. I
Because
don't.
we define talent as being built when you were a kid, right? But how you're raised. And now we're defining dreams and goals as something that comes from your how you were raised.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
I don't know if talent. If I
No.
would
No. I
base
know. I
talent as
understand what
what
he's
your
saying,
child was
but
like, how you were raised.
Mm.
talent is just something you acquired over the years. Yes. Hard work is something you have to earn. You have to do. You have to take action of to earn what you think is your dream success and all that.
Wait, Mohammed, what were you saying before? I didn't catch it.
No, I was just saying that I'm not sure if I would agree with the fact that talent is what you were like how you were raised, and
So
that's
what
what
is
talent is.
talent then?
Talent is just a skill like a skill that you have because
You
some people
acquire.
have
Yeah.
skills for
Exactly.
other
That's
people.
what I said.
Well, where does that skill come from?
So imagine one person is more he has better for example he's taller, right? Someone is taller. Does that have to do with their childhood experience and their childhood being raised that someone's taller? Of course not. But the taller person is going to be more
Well, it has
talented
to
at
deal with their
basketball.
environment, right? Their parents had the genetic disposition to make a child who was tall. So that's still like environment, how they're like their entire childhood.
So saying how
Again,
they were born. Their talents are based on how they're born.
Okay, so what about like intelligence? Then some people are just dumber than other people. Then back to the beginning.
A person with more IQ might be more academically smart.
But what's IQ based off of? Then?
Your mind, isn't
I
it
think
based
a
on
lot of this, okay, I think
genetics?
a lot of this comes just down to nature versus nurture.
Mhm.
It's kind
What's
of
that?
like who you are based on, are you yourself based off your experiences as you got older, or are you who you are based off your genetics?
Nature versus
Because
nurture is just another it's like a premature way of saying skill versus hard work. I mean talent versus hard work.
not
Nature versus
really,
nurture.
because it's about like psychology and actually, yeah, actually, no, never mind. I can agree with you there.
Mm.
I would say no. I would say it's more based
Someone
off.
who's tall, if they're not raised correctly, they're not gonna play sports. Like we've seen, like we have tall friends, and when we play sports with them, they're like absolutely horrid at sports.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I
no. I
remember
think. All right,
there's this
continue.
really tall guy. I remember back in middle school. Like this guy was the tallest guy in our school. He was
Mm.
so tall in like grade 8, and every basketball coach they would just drool over looking at him. And then when he was in gym, they'd be like, "Oh, here, give him the basketball, see what he can do." But he was just garbage at basketball.
I
Like
think
I
okay.
don't
I
mean
think
insult him,
that
but he
also.
was not it.
Okay. I think you're just kind of just labeling. Okay, tall. He's gonna be good at basketball, right? But I just think that because some people, when they're that tall, they don't want to. They don't want to play sports. They're just like, oh, let me be more academically driven, not athletically driven. Well, whether
That
like
just has to
someone
do with
that's no, yeah,
what
whether
you
like
want to
someone
be.
that's like 5'8" like me. What if he's not academically driven and he's more athletically driven? Like, what? It's kind of just, it's kind of
Yeah,
different.
but those things are all based off of their childhood and the people who brought them up in their environment, right? So regardless if you're tall or you're short,
Well, no, like, well, yeah, but they were born with, or they were born in the genetics with what they had. They didn't just,
Mhm.
they didn't just boom 7 foot like right there. Like it was genetics.
Sabi, let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
So, is there something that you're really passionate about, or something you want to reach? There is, right?
Yeah.
So, how would you say that you're really passionate about that thing because of the way you're grown, you were raised?
Yes.
Well, then that answers your question.
But that's not the same for everybody, right? So I'm passionate about these things, but we're not talking about passion, right? We're talking about talent. Maybe the things I'm passionate about, I'm not really talented at yet. But
That is true, yeah, because a lot of people are not talented in what they're passionate about.
mm,
But if someone is passionate, they'll definitely put in the work. But
yeah, they have the
they can
disposition
only,
to
but they can only
become.
go so far.
Yeah.
They can only go so far, but they need that some sort of talent. But then since we did say talent was some sort of like nature versus nurture, right? Then it just depends on like your goals and like what you want, which is what we've gone over multiple times.
Mm. So I guess really talent doesn't really exist then, right? It's just your the way we're describing it right now. I feel like talent doesn't even exist. It's just the way you're raised. That's it.
If you
No,
were to
talent
remove,
definitely exists
no,
because
I
you
feel like
definitely
if you classified physical, like physical
attributes.
attributes, physical advantages and disadvantages, if you were to like put those away and not put those under talent, then yeah, I don't think talent would exist.
Yeah, but then it also comes mentally too. It's kind of like what you
But mental is
really.
also based off of your childhood, how you're raised.
Hmm.
Unless it's like in, for example, you have a mental disability.
Yeah, something
You
like
could
That,
that.
still classify
that's
under
like
that physical, yeah.
yeah, that's still like an edge case. But like then like you could only change like you can only change the way that you were brought up. Something could only change the outcome of how you were brought up. Maybe like some serious like life event, like you got fired from your job or something, like some trauma that you had that would change the way you behave. So what are things that initiate changes in behavior from what you had initially from growing up as a child?
Are you asking like personal experiences, or are you just saying like what are factors
Like
that do?
how does someone change the way they behave if they've already like set ways in them how they behave from their childhood?
Then it comes back to like how they think about it. Because if they just have their mind set and they're not like open to any other ideas, then they're just gonna stay what they are. But if they're open to many other ideas, like their mindset will kind of change over time.
Mm-hmm.
They
They'll
probably
maybe
still have like the ideal goal,
simply that
but
they're open, and another person's mindset is not open.
closed. Yeah, very traditional. Well, we don't know where the talent and hard work comes in for that. It's just kind of more of a mindset question, like how are you willing on to take other ideas into whatever has happened in your like whatever your mindset is, basically.
Yeah, I agreed. Like that doesn't really come into the talent and hard work.
It does. We were just. This is an entire like chain of thought that we've had, right? We've established that we don't think talent exists, right? Based off your.
Well, okay, it does exist, but then there's of course factors, but there's factors to everything we just said.
Yeah. Factors, no, like talent doesn't exist at all, you'd say, because like you'd see some people are more talented than others, right? Is it because did they ever work harder than someone else? Is that would you apply that if two people do a math test, for
Yeah,
example, right?
agree. I agree with that.
Would does that mean that the guy who got higher marks is 100% his reason was because he practiced more and studied more? Is that why he got higher marks than the other guy?
Probably.
But
Most when we think about it, yeah, that's probably it. But then I know a lot of people that can just walk in without studying, boom, they can get a
yeah,
100%. That is definitely not normal.
But again, that's based off of how they were raised, right? They were raised differently, and guaranteed the outcome would be different.
Well, I feel like because I feel like if they're gonna get that 100%, they're gonna get that 100% whatever. Remember, I've what's it called? I think I said this to one of you guys before, but like let's say you were able to take a millionaire, take all his money out, and then just lock him inside a closet. The millionaire will probably become a millionaire
that's a
again
crime.
because he'll know. Okay, I don't care if it's a crime. It's just an you guys are just labeling me. Or
Criminal
committed
man.
unwanted.
Whoa, Harris.
Mm.
No,
But
if you were to lock him in a closet, a millionaire, how is he gonna make you money? He's just locked in a closet.
Let me just
no, not if you were to lock him in the closet. Lock his money in the closet.
Okay,
all right. So, all right, talent.
Well, I don't know why.
Talent is that it doesn't really exist. Okay, so we established something, right? Talent isn't something that exists. It just comes from how you're raised, right? And then
More so, yes.
the mentality to work hard that also comes from how you were raised, right? Or the mentality or the goals that you set comes from how you were raised.
yeah, the vision or the
Yeah.
goals you want.
And the
That
mindset, and the mindset
how you're
that
raised.
yeah, and the mindset.
So does that mean? But that mindset can change, right?
Technically, yeah, it could.
Yes. The
But that
mindset-
doesn't mean it
vision.
can change to bad things. It can change to
Yeah,
bad
it
things.
can change to bad things. It can change to good things. But that like talent that we define, it will stay constant because those are the skills that you've already attained through your childhood, right? So like, let's say like at the end age of 15, right, that's when the talent generation stops or how you were raised stops and you start becoming your own person. Then that means at 15, what other skills you made can't change so far in the future, but the mentality you have can change so that you can change your outcomes.
Yeah, that is true. But with the skills you've learned at 15, you're already so good at that it's not it. Well, yeah, you can change your mindset and everything, but you're gonna be a master of those skills. You're gonna be a master of what you are. So that just means you're still talented.
But we've defined there's no such thing as talent. Right?
That's what you're saying. That's not what Musa and I are saying.
Okay. Well, I thought we agreed there's no such thing as talent.
No, I said that if you were to take out those factors that I talked about earlier, then there's no such
Like
thing as
physical
talent.
factors, right? Even physical
Physical.
factors.
Not even
I-
physical, just mental factors.
I disagree. I feel like even including all factors, talent just comes down to how you're raised, the environment you're in, and that's
Okay.
And so
Okay.
does your vision of what goals you want.
the goals and your visions come from your childhood too, from how you're raised, your environment. So there isn't really a distinction. The thing is, your goals and visions can change as you age, right? And the skill sets that you already have from how you're raised can't.
Okay. Just to conclude everything off. Okay. Musa, I'll start with you first. Like, what do you think talent versus hard work? What outweighs the other, and what is the definition of each?
Definition of each. Let's begin with that. Hard work. I mean, like, I have to agree with Sabi on that. The hard work part, where
I think
mean,
we
you
all agree on
have
hard
that
work,
vision.
like what it is.
Yeah. the only thing I disagree on the talent part would be that talent is like it is based on how you are like raised of how your talents will be. It might be based on that, but I just still believe that there are people that are more talented and they start at different levels than other people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with that one. But Subby thinks it doesn't exist. But
I asked questions that made you guys think, man. Don't lie.
yeah, definitely. I'm not saying you're useless.
What I think, okay, hard work and talent, there's no such thing. There's only privilege and hard work. So privilege, how you were raised, how you were brought up, the environment you were in, and hard work, how the mentality that you have. And the mentality that you have also comes from how you were raised. But the difference between the two is that your privilege starting off does not change, whereas your hard work or mentality can change throughout your life based on major life events.
Okay, great.
What
So,
about you?
okay, yeah, with me, I think talent is something, of course, it's something you're nurtured with, something you grew up with, either based on your race, based on how you're taught, based on how you value different things. But it does exist, and there's definitely a lot of factors to that. I agree with Musa on that. And hard work, I think we all agree with hard work that it's whatever vision you have and all the steps, the work smarter steps, like if you work smarter to work harder, it becomes a reality once you like put in the effort. And we all agreed that we definitely would rather have the $100 bill we earned for rather than just the $100 bill we just had, because we feel like it's more value. Psychologically, we'll think it's more, the $100 bill we earned for it is more valuable than the one we just had.
But in
And then it would
reality, the
definitely,
$100 bill is still more valuable, though.
it's still more valuable, but psychologically we'll think the other one, because if we say like, okay, we worked hard just for this one time, boom, we'll have this $100 set. With what can I do with more, with with more steps, with better steps, with the mindset that we have, the drive we have. That's how I think hard work is. But we'll see what the fans think. Okay, if you guys agree with
Let's
Sabi, Musa, or
go.
me, yeah, we have fans. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so whether you agree with Musa, me, or Sabi, Sabi, Musa, and me are very intelligent people. We're very knowledgeable guys. So whether you agree with that one of us, it'll be fine. But anything you guys have to say before we end off?
All you guys are dumb, and I'm right.
I'm smarter than you, Sabi.
Okay, very blunt answers. Very blunt answers. But make sure you check out our previous topic, and we're definitely gonna have to put more content out of the way. And this is the All Facts Podcast. I'm Har Sarkar, and I'm out.